Severance fans. Welcome to Tori Talks with Dr. S. I'm Tori, and this is Dr. S. Today we'll talk about Severance, Season 2, Episode 3. It's called Who is Alive? Okay, well, let's begin how this episode begins with Harmony, or Miss Cobell. I don't even know what to call her. She has three names. Miss Cobell, Miss Selvig, and Harmony. So Harmony is sleeping in her car on the side of the road. And then she looks in the passenger seat, and we know that there's the breathing tube there. So who do we think belongs to the breathing tube? Is it a daughter? Is it a mother? Is it a father? Who do you think?
It has the name of, like, Charlotte? Or
yes.
Yeah, so I always thought it was a daughter.
I would think daughter, too, because that would, I feel like you're a mother. Like, yes, of course, if you lost your mother, it'd be horrible, but probably lived a pretty long life. A child, it's probably a little more devastating.
Right, and you probably wouldn't carry around your mother's breathing tube with so much. I mean, why did she keep that of everything that she could have taken?
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like it has to be her child.
We got to figure out that backstory. But she's on her way to a city called Salt's Neck, but then she turns around.
Yeah, so what's that about?
Why'd you do that?
Why mention that?
What are you doing? Is she from there? Is that where the trauma
And the whole
happened?
who's alive thing, is Charlotte maybe alive? I don't know.
I was just going with Miss Casey, but okay.
I know
is
for
Charlotte
sure.
alive?
Miss Casey's got to be the main one, right?
Right.
But who else might be? I don't know.
That's true, because the title could mean more than one person that we're talking about, right? Okay. So she does decide, I guess. Oh, I have to mention the song that was playing in the car. It's called Love Spreads by, I don't know who it's by, but I guess this is it's a controversial retelling of the Passion of the Christ where God is a black woman.
Ooh.
Which I find fascinating because of the milkshake thing that happens later on. So, and believe me, I didn't just know what that song was.
I was like, wow, you're so knowledgeable about the music.
Well, like how I picked up on Pip's diner thing, I'm like, I'm trying to focus more on the details because they matter most of the time.
Some of the things are like real, like grounded in the outside world. So we're trying to pick up things,
Yes. Yeah. I need any little hints I can get about Severance. Yeah. But all right, so now she goes and waits for Helena outside of Lumen, and she said that she wants to be back running the severed floor, but she wants Mr. Milchek out. She doesn't think she can handle it, which is funny because he actually can't right now. Like, he doesn't seem like he does have it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen a lot of him, but he seems stressed out by it.
He's got a lot of mess to clean up.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That she created, Harmony created.
That's true. He inherited a huge mess. Okay, so Helena's like, let me talk to the board, does this thing. And then she's like, yeah, let's go inside and talk. So she's coaxing her to try to come inside. And Harmony's totally falling for it until the last minute. She's like, I better not. And then she leaves. And what do you think that was about?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But she's smart.
She kind of is like, she's not falling for it. Like, maybe she thinks she'll become, like, disappeared, too.
Yeah.
Because she knows what they're capable of.
Right.
Right? She knows a lot.
So I'm intrigued by the whole storyline with that because, she technically still has Petey's chip. And so, right? So I feel like that could be of use, and that's why they want her, right? Because she knows about the reintegration and the chip. Yes. So I feel like that's a big part of why they're, like, trying to keep her around. Because at first I was like, wait, I know she knows about Lumen and what they do there, but why are they so like, no, we want you back. Like, we really need you.
And why don't they just kill her? Like, she must be valuable for something.
Interesting.
Right? Because otherwise, I mean, I don't think they're above just offing people.
I don't know, because there is this whole religious tone to Keir, and this is what Keir says, and they have a whole song. I mean, it's like, do they kill in this religion or cult or whatever the heck this is?
Or why not just, like, abduct? Like, do people have to come willingly? Like, all the severed people come willingly.
Yes, which makes me think, did Miss Casey come willingly?
Yeah, that's what I think, too. I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, well, back at work, we noticed that Mark he has a timer of sorts, and he's counting, and then he goes up the elevator, and he's, like, got a whole plan with that. We kind of put that aside. There's missing posters of Miss Casey, and he's determined, like, they've got a mission, right?
Like he wants to know how long it takes to get from the car to the elevator when he gets...
Right.
Yes.
Severed, right? Yeah, so he's got a whole plan, and, like, he's determined. Like, that's what his plan is. And so we have the other people involved. So we have Irv. Irv's going back to O&D. It's been a while. Something weird happened with Helly, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's me reading too much into it because I am looking for clues. when he's kind of like showing that he's sad about going back there, just because, Bert, the whole thing. She looks at him like kind of deep in the eyes and was like, "We've got you."
She's so neutral.
Something was weird.
She was very neutral this week, though, because I also was looking for clues.
Yes.
I felt like there wasn't a lot of obvious things to tell.
Yes.
Like there were obviously when she lied, about what happened when she was during the OTC, but there wasn't anything blatant like that. So you really had to like look for it, and I didn't see anything blatant.
That's the only thing was like yes, she was trying to say we've got you because we're friends or whatever, but in a way,
it's still kind of generic.
Yeah, it seemed a little
like I don't know details
flat.
Because we're not that close.
Yeah, we've got you. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was. Well, also, like, there's no throwaway lines here. Like, why did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so he does tell Dylan that he recreated these hallways that his Audi is, or he's seen it, right? The recreation of it. And so he's, like, kind of determined to find the hallways. But it's interesting because, like, you had made a really good point. Like, maybe he has some, like, PTSD from serving in the military, and there's something going on. Like, the brain doesn't forget.
Yes, it's
the body
firing.
doesn't forget.
Yeah, it's yes, exactly.
So it's almost like you have to ask, like, what transcends the severed barrier? Like, love and, like, these, like, what emotions will be, like, break through.
Yeah. Oh,
the
that's
chip,
interesting.
Because, right? Yeah. So it just... Based on what you said, because it was such a good analysis, I was like, what will push through? Because they even said when Mark is sad, they're like, your innie will know that you're sad.
Yeah, and the love thing, because Bert and Irv, like, there's a whole, like, it's dangerous when people have, like, these true emotions, maybe, right?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, exactly. So he is back to O&D. Felicia could not have been more warm and welcoming. Like, she gives him a big old hug, and they talk about Bert and, like, kind of, like, reminisce or whatever. And then she happens to look... Because I think he has drawings of Bert, and then she sees the drawing of that hallway, and then she's like, "What are you trying to do with the exports hall?" The exports hall, because isn't that where Miss Casey went when they retired her? Yeah, so we can name it.
And she had didn't she have like a tier?
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew where she was going. Right?
Yes, we now know the name of this hall that he's fixated on. So it's the exports hall. Export.
Who's getting exported or
and
what?
How do you get exported? Are you killed or are you just put
wiped
somewhere?
Yeah,
you're in a labor camp. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
We don't know what they do, right? Okay. So now, Helly and Mark are off to do their business, and they're looking for the room with the goats. So, again, he's like super determined, and he's like, I'm going to crawl through this little space. She's like, oh, I guess we're doing it.
Yes.
I don't know. It also doesn't seem like Helly, even just like that, just her manner of like, oh, okay, I guess you're willing to do this. Yeah. I guess I should be willing to do it too.
She would be more do it.
I
right?
know. Yeah. She's a little more gritty.
She would have led the way.
Yeah, exactly. So they do have this moment where they exchange looks and smiles, and they look almost like they're going to like kiss or whatever, and I was looking for her facial expressions, and I feel like she was just doing her best to be like, yeah, I'm into this.
Helly would have done it. You're right.
I mean, we don't have confirmation that this isn't Helly.
Right.
That this is or isn't. But I'm just stuck on that theory.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, okay, so they do make it to the goat room. It's a huge room with grassy hills. And there's a lady who appears.
Oh my gosh.
She says, "Are you here to kill me?" Are you, what? So then I'm like, is murder involved?
What? Yeah. Well, yeah. It was very. This is the weirdest
so
thing
strange.
I've maybe ever seen on TV.
You know what? Also, like, we didn't really get anything from this. Just like a little bit of, it was just silly and obscure.
Oh yeah, like absurd.
Absurd is like a better
word.
There's
hills. There's rolling green hills in an office building.
And the department is the mammalians nurturables. Nurturables.
Yes. And why do they want to know if there are pouches on their bellies?
See your belly buttons.
Like, are there? They must hear stories. Oh, maybe there's paintings or something that illustrate people from other floors with like kangaroo pouches.
But these people are paranoid.
Yeah.
So
they were.
What have they been shown?
Yeah.
They're what paranoid. Are they afraid of?
But then they also were nice though. Like at the end, like, oh, we'll help you, or it's okay. Like you can go find her. Yes. And they knew Miss Casey.
And they said nice things about her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So everyone's traumatized in here by something.
I mean, that's all we kind of got.
Yeah.
But
where do these people live? Like, do they come severed?
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
That's the craziest part of this whole thing. Yeah. So I was trying to go, because I'm thinking biblical, in biblical sense, like, because maybe this is like a religion of sorts, what goats represent. And I looked up goats. It says goats were a part of the temple system and were often sacrificed as sin and peace offerings.
Oh.
I don't know how that could play into this, but I was just going for like, why the goats?
Maybe they do, because, you know, the whole religious aspect of like the whole Kier worshiping, maybe they like sacrifice some.
Yeah.
Or experiment on them. Maybe that's like some, you know.
Yeah. Is it up to those people to take care of them and like nurture them? Because nurturables, like, we should move on.
I love seeing the actress though.
Oh, Brienne of Tarth? Yes. Game of Thrones. Sorry, if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's,
like, oh.
Gwendolyn
Christie?
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks beautiful.
She looks so good, yeah.
Even in her
just a little dirty.
state.
She's like beautiful but dirty.
Yeah, jeez. Anyway, it was nice to see her again in the TV universe.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Milchick, the board, by way of Natalie, who is a robot, gives Mr. Milchick a gift, and it's a portfolio of paintings from like the whole Kier cycle of whatever they're doing, but it's instead of, I guess, who is Kier is a black man.
Every character like is presented black, so Mr. Milchick can feel like belonging, like seen, understood. Is so weird.
I don't get it, because he even goes, "Oh my,"
as
he flips through it.
He's like, I didn't even need this. I was fine.
And you can tell that the reaction wasn't what they wanted, so that the board tells Natalie, "Oh, say that you got that same gift and you loved it."
Yeah.
You know, like to make him feel like, "Oh yeah, I should really be grateful for this."
Yeah.
Also, what's here? Is there just something in her head? Is there really a board? And is she the board?
Oh, what if she's
the board? Because this whole like, the board says blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm not.
Oh, that's interesting.
Buying it.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, why does she like? They hear him through the little thing, but then everyone just. Why does she have to speak for them?
I think Natalie's the board.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, I guess he's supposed to be like grateful for it, but it's not like he's like hanging up these paintings. He hides them on a shelf. He's like, I'm good. But he was intrigued by it. But it went in with the song about the retelling of Passion of Christ. So I thought that was
when
interesting.
you said that about the song, I was like, oh.
Yeah, right? They're all the details. They're doing such a good job. Okay, let's talk about Dylan. Okay, so Dylan's kind of like, hey, I'm going to hang back, guys, because he knows about this perk that he gets, which is Miss Huang taking him to see his Audi's wife, but it's his Audi's wife. And his wife is played by, I love her, Merritt Weaver, of like Nurse too. Jackie, right? And I think it's so cute that one of their kids' names is Merrick. Did you pick up on that?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, that was so cute. The little girl, her name's Merrick. Anyway, so the whole thing, like, imagine like talking to, your husband, my brother, and like you know who he is, that's your husband, but like he doesn't know who you are.
He doesn't know you at all. I know.
Like, how would you feel? Wouldn't that be
so awkward? That was the most interesting interaction.
Yes.
The way they talked to each other, it was just so, it was so like
for
perplexing.
both of them. It was like a stranger, but because she's a total stranger to him.
Total stranger.
Like, that's your husband, and he has no idea who you are. It's such a, but the acting is so good by Merritt Weaver. Well, both of them, but just how she has to be like, I know you, but I don't.
And how he learns about himself, and he's just like, oh, so I'm a loser, basically, out there. So this is what I had to do to be like a good employee. Like, it's kind of sad.
Well, that is kind of sad.
I know.
But they do show him in his Audi world with the kids, and she's telling him what to do while she goes to work.
They work opposite shifts.
Yes, I noticed that too.
That was so interesting. Like, what a way to live, right? Like, so by the rest of his, hours, he's a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And then she takes care of the kids when he's, it's just like,
ooh, what a life.
Yeah. I mean, they probably were like, oh, this works out well. Like, the choice that was made before he got severed, right? Like, oh.
Yeah, they planned it, right?
Yeah, like it made sense because he couldn't keep a job. Like, oh, go to this job where, it's not you.
Yeah. And what does she think about him being severed? And, oh my gosh. But,
and he needs this, right? Because now that he's gotten a glimpse of, like, it's that whole emotion thing. Like, if they don't, like, satisfy his emotion, because now he has like curiosity and longing, because he knows he knows a little nugget about his outside life, he knows about the kid, then that could like distract him. So they have to feed it somehow so that he's not like always distracted by it.
Right.
With the 18 minutes, like they've calculated that this is going to be enough to like satiate him so he can continue to be a good worker.
And they know he loves perks.
Yes.
So you say a perk, you dangle it in front of him, he's like, I want it.
The perks just get more like elevated because of the severed mind gets more complex.
Yeah.
The finger traps are not enough.
I know. So weird. Okay, let's talk about Natalie showing up at Rickon and Devin's house to basically say, your book really spoke to our innies and we want an innie version of it. What the heck is that about? Because, well, Devin and him are like, well, how did your book get in there?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we already know, but what do you think is the real intention behind that? Because it isn't just like, oh, it spoke to them, or did it really speak to them and that was a way to like keep them engaged or like keep that?
I think
No.
I think she's trying to just fish for information. Like, what do they know?
Yes.
Because of the whole OTC thing. Like,
Yes.
I think they still
I
got
think so
a
too.
damage control. Yeah.
I think so too, yeah. But again, Natalie is a robot. Okay, anyway. So Mark and Devin are working on a little project which goes hand in hand with him counting and has the timer at the front.
Did you notice his watch too? It like was a digital, like from the 80s watch. Like, what is
like
this?
the cars?
What is happening?
But they have cell phones. I know. This town of Kier
Yeah, it's so weird.
is like holding them back.
Yeah, but they have like
in time.
smartphones, right? Like their phones are smartphones. But then so it's I don't know.
That remains to be answered. Yeah. So the project they're working on is that, okay, so he has to burn an image in his retina so that when his innie goes up the elevator, that'll be what he sees, who's alive.
And he needs to, that's why he's timing it, so because it has to last longer than the time it takes for him to go up the elevator.
Yes.
I mean, it's a smart idea.
I was wondering how they were.
Theory.
Yeah. I love that Devin and him are like on the same page and like that he has an ally up there, right? And who better than his sister? Okay, so while he's practicing this in his car, Ragabi shows up. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, like a jump scare.
Yeah, and he flat out asks her, like, is Gemma alive? And she said, the last time I saw her, she was. So then he's just like, I gotta go. I gotta go back in there.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, maybe I can reintegrate you. Like, I'm better at it now. He's like, okay,
Let's do it.
yeah. What do I have to do?
I was like, whoa, this is escalating quickly.
Yeah, but of course he would.
Yeah.
If it meant that he could
Of course.
see Gemma
Especially
again.
if you ask the Audi.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is the reason why he went in the first place, because the grief was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
He couldn't even function.
Yeah.
So, heck yeah. I did not think something this big was going to happen this soon in this season.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's keep going.
Yeah. So part of this process, which they do in his basement, wait, that's fine. It needs to be
I'm totally not
secret and
sanitary.
private. Yeah. Basically, we need to get these two little waves.
I love the low-tech illustration of like the Audi and the innie subjectivity,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
intersect.
We need to get them to connect. So it was really interesting because I was kind of like, how are you going to do this? And thanks for showing us the process.
Yeah.
So she's asking him questions that his Audi would know. And then all of a sudden she asks about, like, it gets like deep, like a love, like he needed to tap into a certain emotion to get there.
Whole feelings, emotion thing too, right?
It is about emotion, right? So then she starts asking questions that his Audi would know, but his innie wouldn't know. Like, what year is it? And he said, you mean what quarter is it? So, which is interesting because they don't even think in terms of years in the innie.
Yeah.
Inside Lumen. So then it just starts to like go back and forth between him on the table because she's like, what's your first memory? And that would be his first memory inside. So he's on the table like Helly was.
Yeah.
Right? And then it kind of like goes back and forth. It reminds me of the whole PD situation. And then there's our episode.
That's wild.
Oh my gosh, they're doing such a good job.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm like, oh, I'm in. I mean, this one was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was I felt like it felt short to me, but only because it was like little movies.
That's true.
know?
We didn't get a lot except for with this, I
Yeah.
think. This is a big deal. He's like, yep, I want to be reintegrated,
Yeah.
right? I thought it was interesting that Ragabi says that she's tracking all 5 of the brainwaves, the delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, all those little brainwaves or whatever. And then when the refiners are sorting their numbers, there's 5 different boxes.
Yeah.
Is it a coincidence? I don't freaking know. But what does it have to do? And emotions plays a huge part of this. Again, what would transcend
Right.
this?
And then that whole like end scene in one of the prior episodes where Mark's sorting and it's flashing to Miss Casey's face, and they're talking about like the whole Cold Harbor project.
Yes.
Like it's got to be related, right? They're like, they're doing something with the human mind.
What are they doing?
I have
and
no
the belly
idea.
button pouch thing. Anyway, we don't know. But
are they making people?
Are they combining animals? People? Are they cloning things? Yeah, what is going on? But I don't know. But hey, at least like we're 3 episodes in and we're already going.
Yes, I'll take it. Let's go. Let's keep going fast.
I confirm there are 10 episodes this season. There were 9 last season, but there are 10. So we have a long way to go.
Yay.
But it's been really fun. Okay. All right. Everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. Please comment below and let us know what you thought of this episode, and then we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.